All right, we will go ahead and get this committee of the whole meeting started. We do have a quorum here. We have 4 present. And I'm going to assume that it will not be a very lengthy meeting.
Love that.
I doubt there are any complaints. New council orientation, since that is Mrs. Bowling's item, I'm assuming that we will leave that in here in committee and wait for her to provide some additional information. Community survey, distribution, and early results and follow-up. So I did bring a mock-up, I think we discussed it at the council meeting, of what we could potentially hand out. And you can yell at me if it is too punny or potentially offensive.
I would only yell at you if it was not punny.
I figured we could get a bunch of dum-dums. And so I put where it would go, and it would say, "Don't be a dum-dum. Scan the code below and complete the survey so that Norwood City Council can hear from you. Thank you." And we can put holes and either slide them in or tape them on.
We're saying that you're not dum-dums. Okay.
Correct.
Yes, I'm saying.
Yes.
Could we also just have a bunch that I could say stick in my pocket for when I take the dogs for a walk and can hand to folks? Or like at the pocket park on Floral.
Yep. Or we can.
It is a politics-free space.
It is not, is it
This is not
political?
political.
I say it's data collecting.
Okay.
It's nonpartisan.
Because I'd like to just have a bunch that I can just like put in my pocket and stick at the coffee shop and like at the table
Little
of
libraries.
Cappies.
Yeah,
the
little
library.
libraries would be good.
So I love the dum-dums, but I'd like some that I don't have to have a dum-dum
Right.
in my pocket. Because that's a lot of,
Big pocket.
it's a big pocket. And I might get, a little peckish and then just sit and eat them all.
All right.
Is that, and I love how you're just using paper. So if we could just get a bunch printed out and then just,
Either that or card
Distribute.
stock. I mean, really,
cardstock would be lovely. I know it's more expensive and more likely to
we
jam the
get
copier.
4 to a
but
page. I set it up so we get 4 to a sheet.
I think that's
I
great.
mean, I could make it smaller, but
No,
I
I
think
think
that's a
people
good
to be able to
size.
see.
it's a
what
manageable
it is.
size. So I love it.
All right, so that was one item. The other
How
item,
quickly can we get that? Sorry.
the ones for the parade.
Oh, is that? Oh, okay. So
These
is
are
the
the parade
dum-dum for
ones.
the
The
parade?
dum-dums are
Yes,
for the parade.
that's for the parade.
Okay.
Yes.
Can we have other ones for just now?
Yes.
Like literally that same thing, just remove the dum-dum. That'd be great.
Or I
for
can
me.
even make those a little bit smaller and we can get 6 on a
Okay.
sheet because we won't need the room for the dum-dum and the don't be a.
Yeah, I just want to have something to hand to folks and leave places as just want to scatter them like seeds. Breadcrumbs?
Seats is fine.
Yeah, I'm just typing mine.
I did see like the collections are still trickling in. But I would love to have, we have 33 from the parks. And I did see, like I saw one over at Victory Park the other day. And one at Marsh Park. Those are the places I've seen them.
Yep, there's one at Doral. And Upper and Lower Millcrest. Fenwick. Hunter.
The question about 2 things, the schools, because we missed backpacks. So my thought would be,
Do they do emails?
I don't know over the summer if they do or not.
Oh, all right.
I don't think I ever got emails that I read
I'm not sure.
over the summer. But we could put it on all like the PTA pages and the, those more targeted towards the
Right.
school. In terms of chamber, and I guess I was thinking we're going to call it the chamber, but we're meaning business.
Well, so I have two, because I set up another QR code that just says retail establishments, and this has to be fine tuned, but it would be something that you can,
You can
Oh, like
stand
a
up,
table.
little standees.
yes.
It's nice.
Oh, I like that.
So it just says, thank you for visiting. It's kind of the same.
Thank you for visiting Dum Dum. Thank
No,
you.
it doesn't say that.
Oh, okay. I get so easily confused.
gotta work on our
Joe.
marketing.
I got to work on the marketing.
Scan the code below and complete the survey so that Norwood City Council can hear from you.
All right. Sounds good.
So how are we going to get those?
Those we can, I mean, if people want, when I say people, council, wants to grab a stack and some local businesses that they are,
They frequent?
yep, and just ask if they can slap it on the counter or wherever.
Okay, I love that. In terms of chamber customer, or no, sorry, I see chamber employees and chamber
Yep.
customers.
Yep.
But I have a list of Norwood businesses that I have. Can I just email all of them the chamber one, or did you want that to be specifically chamber? Or is that, or do you want
I don't know that-
retail? Because some of them aren't retail. Like, we've got places like Alloy, Cappy's, Champagne Clean, Core Clay, Electric, Foresight, Fuel Collective, The Floral. So there's lots of different businesses,
Right.
and not all of them are retail.
Well, that's what I labeled it, just
So that's
as general.
okay. So it's cool to use that one for. Okay.
Yep.
Is it cool with everybody if I just go ahead and email all the businesses that QR code to start getting that? Is that chill? Okay. And I'll keep track of who I send it to.
Yeah, it's probably easier if one person does it rather than spamming accidentally people.
From the city email, because then, all.
Yeah.
I sent Jeff the email or the list of individuals who said they would like to hear from council.
Great.
Say that again?
There was a list of people who said they wanted to hear from
Yeah.
council in the survey, so he sent that to Jeff because Jeff had requested
Yeah.
it to he can follow up with them.
Okay. I thought that had already been done, so my apologies.
No, there was one that really didn't provide any contact information at all.
Oh,
More of a hypothetical hearing from council.
Right.
we can just kind of walk up and down the street. Like,
So with
yo.
that one remove, it is 36 people.
Great.
And we're at what, 700 right now, give or take?
We're under. We're the
678.
Yeah.
And the idea with like sort of the stakes of this, or the intention is that this is a lead into some sort of like strategic plan conversation.
Yes.
I know my hope was to get like well over 1,000, more like 2,000. So
And
Which
that's
I
where,
wouldn't
like,
give up on that. Yeah. I wouldn't give up on that.
yeah,
well, that's where, like I kind of wonder, and I again, happy to be proven wrong here or whatnot, but like, is there, like, if we wanted to do like the every door direct mail or something with like USPS and actually like pay to get every house. Literally, there's like no one can say that they
I
didn't know about
love
it, they
that
didn't get
idea.
it, whatever. But
I love that idea. We don't have the money.
Right. Well, the other issue I think is going to be that not everybody may have, those who do not have access to complete it online, we would be missing them. And then the question becomes, okay, so if we provide a printed one, who's going to, if we mail everyone a physical survey, the option of physical survey or a QR code, that entry for all of those that are returned.
what do we do right now if somebody doesn't want to do it on their phone?
They can, I think we said on the website, you can reach out to us. That's what we said we were going to do. I
Yeah.
don't know that
There
I
has,
don't recall that
think
being done.
there has been one person who has reached out.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't know why that would be any different. Like, I understand your point about, like, I understand the point about the online challenges or whatnot, but it would seem to me that the same thing would apply. And like, if this is a lead into a however long master plan for the city, like, it would seem to me that spending $2,000 or whatever to mail it to all 11,000 addresses in the city, like, I don't know. That seems like that should be doable somehow. Maybe I'm naive, but
I would say I paid for the Survey Monkey out of my own pocket, so I don't see that there are any funds for that. Again, I would love to be proven wrong, but essentially, I've been under the impression that we got to do this on our own. One thought I did have was about the possibility of putting it on the water
was thinking
bill,
that.
because we were looking at possibly doing that for a recycling survey.
To slap the QR code.
Because I just got the bill the other day, and I'm signed up actually not to get it unless I forget to pay, and then they send it. And the message that it currently has is a pretty old one about see-click fix. So I kind of like the idea of having that message, and of course, this is the water department is under administration, not under council. But I like the idea of having it change up, because if it's always the same, we become blind to it. But if it's always different information, so I'm wondering if that's something we could put on the water bill.
That might be
sort of
something
background.
to ask the administration about, because certainly it's already being sent out. That kind of makes it so we don't have to pay for it, and people are already hopefully looking at it. And maybe people that aren't looking online or aren't going out to these restaurants, that's a different way to reach them.
Right.
Everyone uses water, I think.
The only,
It should be.
the other thing with that, though, to keep in mind is not all of the entire city doesn't get their water bill at the
Right.
same time. So it's only going to be, that will be limited to the portion of the city who gets their water bill.
Right.
Because it's quarterly, but I also feel like I feel like we need to keep the survey open longer.
That's fine.
Because I don't feel like we've gotten the traction,
sample size.
certainly
Are
the
there-
sample size.
And you said the only instance in which we collect contact information is if people are requesting to be followed up with?
Correct.
Okay.
And that's one of the questions on there. I forgot how it's worded.
Yeah.
Would you like to be contacted from a member of council to further discuss?
Got it. Okay, yeah, because when I did mine, I had the emails, so I could actually like email those who had done it to say, hey, can you send this to 5 friends or whatever, and that helped get more responsive. But it sounds like we don't have that.
And we also wanted anonymity for folks.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, those who requested to be contacted, I think for most of them, we do have an email address.
Most of the folks who,
Everyone who requested to be contacted by a member of council did provide an email address.
Well, in the course of following up with them, we can ask them to send it on, at least as a couple more people.
And they all, for the most part, most were kind of detailed or specific with what it was they wanted to discuss, as opposed to leaving it.
Open-ended. I
Vague.
think, yeah, I think only one was like, didn't say, but wanted to hear from council. So it was sort of a little more unclear who should, if there's a particular person they should.
Yeah, and because no one really mentioned that there was any specific elected official that they wanted to speak to, where I figure if that were the case, they probably would have provided that in their comments. I think we can look at some of these. We can kind of determine that, yeah, this can be forwarded over to the administration. It isn't, their concerns are more, they fall more under that administration umbrella as opposed to council.
And in terms of asking administration about the water bill, is that a old business thing at next council meeting? Where does that happen? Who does that?
I think we would
That
just,
can come up under the committee report. So when there's a motion to accept the committee report and then there's discussion, anything, any follow-up items.
Okay.
well,
that
can I
all-
just email Noah and just ask
Well, you
him?
can do that too.
Yeah. And then if you have something to report next Tuesday, that'll work too.
Well, I won't be here, but I'll
Well,
let,
hypothetically.
I'll let whoever know. So shoot me the one you want the water department to have,
All right.
and then,
I'll probably I could set a separate one up for that.
Oh,
if
my
you wanna
goodness.
know. Or just use the general QR code that's on the standard,
I mean, part of me feels like it's interesting to know where we got the data from.
which is why I've been creating
Yeah,
different
so
QR
yeah, do it,
codes.
keep it separate, keep it separate. But
Right.
here's a question. If I did it from the website, and then I also do it from my water bill, I know we can filter to see the same IP address, and I know that we're just sort of going to be aware of those. But is there a way we would want to filter for any potential repetition, or is that?
Well, if we're filtering it by the IP address, no matter, it's all kind of one data dump anyway.
Okay, so
So-
even though it's in those separate sections? Okay.
Yep, because there's a separate file that identifies
Okay.
the code. I forgot the lingo that they use. But yeah, there's a separate code for each survey, but it's still all in one data file, one Excel file with all the results. And I can. Right, the water bill QR code I will send you. Because the other thing that was interesting, like with the parks, I know I did not physically put a sign at Waterworks, but somebody claimed that they completed they scanned the code at Waterworks. A little interesting nuggets of information.
Oh, should we see if the rec will put the survey at the pool for the summer?
Yeah, we could do that too.
Might get more visitors that way.
Just like during a lifeguard read. No, I mean like, it's now like Adult Swim or whatever.
Right,
Like
pool
get out of the
check.
pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Go to the QR
And
code?
hey, while you're sitting there soaking in the sun, head over to norwood.gov, do the Norwood Community Survey. Mm-hmm. Like, not really joking.
No, it's good. It's a good idea. It's
And then
just
can I make just like a sort of a user experience suggestion? So on the website where it has the Norwood Community Survey linked, it's sort of a trick because that image is clickable, and so it makes like the link look clickable really, I'm just like clicking the image infinitely.
Where are you at?
If you go to the norwood.ohio.gov site,
Okay, the city's website.
city website.
Trying to find that.
Is it on the community news piece?
So if I'm just
or-
at that home page, down at the bottom, there's the like Norwood City Council wants to hear from you, right? So I click on that little tab, and it gives me a little pop-up where it says home newsflash posted on January 8th, Norwood Community Survey, right? You see that with like the mini flyer in the top right, and then the main.
Yes.
Mhm, yep, I think
Flyer.
I'm there.
So if I just scroll down and I see scan the QR code or visit,
this, and you click on
and
the
I click
survey
on it.
monkey.
like nothing happens because it's like I'm
It's-
clicking on the
it's fake.
picture.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
not a clickable thing.
It's not a clickable
It's
thing.
enlarging the image,
Why is
basically.
it
Yeah.
It's a link in the picture. So my proposal is just like, can we add
Put
text
the- Yes,
to this
that would be
actually has
through-
a clickable link rather than just
we could do that
a
through
prank
Norcom.
link.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me.
No.
How come there isn't, you could put it on any image, you could put a link.
Yeah.
It has to be the address.
Yeah.
Norcom just didn't put it on when we gave it to them.
Yeah, because I think
So-
what would make more sense is instead of downloading or saving that PDF, is just to take them right to the survey.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could just send that little bottom right tab. What is that? The news and announcements tab. When you click on that, you could just go straight to the survey. Or at the very least, if you click in, that there would be a clickable link there rather than this prank link.
Would you have time to call Norcom?
Sure,
That'd be awesome. They're very cool.
I have nothing.
Yeah, so instead of having it it's a lot of double clicking.
Mm-hmm.
And then even yeah. If they can just have it instead of going to a separate page within norwoodohio.gov, just take it directly to the
Sure.
survey.
Yeah, because I feel like if we wanted to have that page, we could have more copy there that says like, here's why we're doing it, or how long it's open, or what this is going to inform. But I feel like in its current form, it is, yeah, there's not a lot of value out of this intermediary page.
Right.
So we could just go straight to
Unless somebody is sitting there with their cell phone in front of the computer and scanning
I
the
do.
code.
That's
I
literally
mean,
what
honestly,
just-
that's what I do.
I was like, I don't want to type that link in, so I'm just going to do it. But like, then I left my laptop to go to my phone. So yeah, I can do that.
All right. Anything else with regard to QR codes, distribution, takes care of the parade, like the library, if someone wanted to take one of these to the library. Um,
And then we said the like local establishments, if they'll put them up. Do we have any like has anyone tried to synthesize the results that we have to date, just to like get an initial gander?
as far
Joe
as,
had.
So like so one thing that I would wonder about is like ward distribution. You know what I mean? Like if we're lopsided on ward distribution, you know, do we say, hey, we got to figure out.
yeah, I can probably,
you know, like, I don't know. I would volunteer if you said, hey, we're going to print off 100 of these and like lit drop them on people's doors in a certain ward. Like, I would do that. I don't know if we have a budget to print off 100 of them, but.
When I'm on the page
We
for
have-
Ward, it's, oh, are you there?
Yep. 23% Ward 1. I'm rounding up. 27% Ward 2. 31% Ward 3. And 18% Ward 4. With 1% who do not know their ward. So we're heavy in 3 and we're low in 4.
Can you determine if the people that are not residents in Norwood, if you want to QR code, decide they want to tell Norwood what to do?
We don't.
Well, not as,
I mean, we have the,
when they click, they live in Norwood. It's I live in Norwood. I live and work in Norwood. I work in Norwood, but live somewhere else.
Yeah, so we do filter out different types.
72% did select that they live in Norwood. Almost 20% selected that they live and work in Norwood. 3%.
but I think his
Work.
question is, are we asking, do we know for certain?
Once you're putting this in like retail restaurants and stuff like that.
We
there's a lot
asked-
of people that are out in Norwood.
So we ask
Correct.
people if they're resident or not, but whether or not we can verify, we don't. But
No,
we
we're
are
not.
asking non-Norwoodians their opinion, but they are separate from Norwood.
Yes.
Yeah. All
We're,
right,
we're
just wanna make
collecting.
sure you understood that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're collecting the data from individuals who live in the city, who work in the city, who are visiting the city. Some of the data is overall, and then there are other pieces that we can separate out. And then within those that live in the city, we can separate that out more by ward. So we'll be able to drill down into each of the categories. But yeah, that was, so 679 have made it so far as to select their residential status, which was the first question. So that's what, about 100 who just clicked on the link and did nothing else after that.
You're like, never mind.
Right.
And it might be that they did
Actually-
it and then went home and then,
Redid it again.
Probably,
Yeah.
probably like 3 of those are me.
Yeah, some of those are me too.
And then, so for further breakdown, of those who live in the city, 81% own, 17% rent, 2% have another arrangement. As far as numbers in the household, 13% have 1, 35% 2, 20% 3, 20% 4, 10% 5, 1% 6, 2% 7. So we're kind of 2, 3, 4 is those are our 3 highest as far as household. And it looks like 76% of those who responded do not have kids attending Norwood schools. So the 24%. 24% do. And then the rest, it starts getting a little too granular to start blurting out.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think with the parade and with potentially getting it through the schools, that'll really
Yeah, I
help.
mean,
I mean, there's kids everywhere at the parade, so
right. Even if we wanted to take it through, I don't know when schools start back, but if we wanted to take it through Labor Day or through the end of August, there's nothing, we're not currently contracted with anyone to put the master plan together or to pull the data. So it's really as long as we want to keep it open and collect the information.
Sounds good. I'm just playing around with it again.
I'm trying to find, like, the Norwood PTA, a lot of them are like, I'm not a member of, so I can't add. So, how do I figure that out? Possibility is share it. I'll email. I'll see Mary Ronan tomorrow. I'll talk to her about it.
All right. Yeah, because, I mean, I don't know if they send summer emails out or,
I don't think until here's your back to school shopping. Nobody wants. Sorry, I mean, summer man.
yeah, scan it at school.
Library and the pool. That's where my boys were all summer long.
Let's see. I think that as far as master plan, I don't know if there's anything further to add on that one tonight, other than the fact that it will be linked to the community survey results.
And maybe something we can sort of, to your point, is to start having conversations with administration about hiring, like what would the cost be to hire a company to assist with a master plan. I mean, I think that we can do an okay job, but could we get some real professional assistance? And if that's something that we could then look into putting in the 2026 budget, because I can't imagine we're going to get anything off the ground for 20. Or wait, are we working on what budget are we working on right now?
26.
That's what we're doing right now.
Yes.
Okay, so then we what 27?
Yeah.
So, but that's just a thought that we start having those conversations now about what council's support could look like.
Why are you thinking that it's too late for 26?
Just because of the challenges with the fiscal emergency. Not that that is a dead stop, but just aware that that makes things more challenging. I watch the meetings online, but I'm not in them, so
Yeah.
maybe Mr. Gears, what do you think? How would that go over?
I mean, not the
And
power
also,
player,
what would
but council controls the council wants to
The budget.
allocate the money in there.
Yeah.
But also, like, I don't know who we would call for a master plan. Like who?
I'm sure that Mr. Skelly would have
I'm
Ideas.
sure he would. Yeah.
contact information for that.
So maybe that's something we could ask. We could report out to ask for some initial numbers. Are we talking? I mean, honestly, I know when I was talking to folks about hiring out for some DEI stuff, it was more like 20,000.
I think this is more than that. I believe Mr. Skelly mentioned it at our previous committee of the whole meeting, but I don't recall if I dropped that in the minutes or not. Hold on.
Yeah, there's definitely something, some figure that I mentioned. I mean, it is
was-
kind of a big contracting thing for cities to do master
Yes.
plans.
It was not a couple $1,000s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was, in the 5 figgies range,
Yeah.
which is a little more of an ask, but not completely out of our budget, just not something that obviously,
So let's,
Yeah.
and I think let's figure out what the numbers are, and then is that something we can do or can't do, or,
Yeah.
what can we do for this?
no harm in
So-
asking.
Right.
All right, master plan.
Anything else under master plan?
Sorry, do we have, maybe I'm just late to the game. Have you all like circulated or shared or looked at like master plans from other like Ohio municipalities that we have like kind of a benchmark of like what this could be in different forms?
We did a lot of looking at that in the creation of the survey. I don't think we had like any formal anything. It was just a lot of us looking at
Right.
Googling and finding other cities that did them and what they
We
kind
did
of.
at a committee meeting.
Yes.
Like last term.
Okay.
Deer Park has one that I think was what I was looking at because they're, of a similar size, right next door. Actually, they're much smaller. Never mind. When I say of a similar size, I mean compared to Cincinnati,
Less than 300,000 people.
less than
More
300,000
zero.
people.
I really liked Loveland's, very different community, but I liked the questions that they were asking, the way they were sort of framing them.
And is that, I'm sorry, is that a survey or a master plan that they have?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Yes.
And also I looked at a bunch in Colorado that I liked, that just, they felt really comprehensive and not, like some of the communities, the issues are so different. Like in many ways, Loveland, is very different. Norwood is, landlocked. We've got a lot more compression. And for whatever reason, the ones in Loveland, or the ones in Colorado just seemed like they reflected our community and some of the
Built environment
questions.
kind of dynamic.
Yeah, some of the questions that I was feeling were really important to ask.
Yeah.
But Joe, there's a couple more slots open on the Survey Genius, and I know that you are a numbers survey guy. Would you like one of the memberships so you could take a look at the data?
I mean, at this point, I'm happy to do that at some point. I don't
Okay.
think right now.
Right now,
I
it's
mean,
everything's just sort of sitting there.
Right.
Yeah. I think once we reach like a synthesized kind of phase
Okay.
of the proceedings, I'm happy to let
Sweet.
it roll.
Yeah. I'm just taking a look at the plans. It's just interesting to read through, but yeah.
Yeah, and I'll look back and see the community surveys that I looked at, that I borrowed some questions from. They then had a subsequent plan put together that I think reflected.
Yeah, the surveys, like we talked about how that's kind of just a first step toward getting the
Right.
comprehensive plan or master plan or what have you going. So,
And I think one of the key points to kind of echo a comment that Mr. Gerton had made at a previous meeting was that to distinguish that what we're looking at would be the council's master plan for the city, not to be confused with any type of master plan that the administration may potentially have. Where we were looking at getting the key with the survey was getting input from as many in the community as we can, as opposed to just the 7 voices that are on council.
And one other thing that I know Mrs. Franson and I were talking about was the parks survey. I know Mr. Gerton has been working up at Tower Park with residents, but I do think it would be important to make sure that we're folding in some of that other information. And again, I think that that's sort of the challenge. We've been so reactive in like, oh, right now, here's the money, let's do a thing, that we don't have that longevity of, okay, this is a Band-Aid for right now, but what's the longer term plan? And I think we need to start shifting away from the immediate into more of the planning.
And I think some of that will tie into the FRP that's projecting out 5 years with the list and the budget for capital improvement items, and looking at, really, I think what would benefit council is to look beyond that FRP. So that FRP is limited to 5 years, but looking out, okay, 10 years from now, there may be equipment that is in the process of being replaced at parks that either will need some additional maintenance or replacement.
Does everybody have on council have the survey? Do you have I'm sorry, the parks survey? I'm still on that. This is from December 22.
Yeah, I can send that to you. I think I had sent it to everyone on council at the time.
Yeah, right.
So I need to get it and give it to you.
It has a lot of really great information in it. And of course, it's already a little outdated because of all the work that has been done. But I think that it does give a clear path on what people are really most interested in. Mm-hmm. And I know that, one of the things that I loved the vision was each park would sort of have its own personality, its own vision, its own, and to make sure that we have that in mind as we're moving forward with the plans.
Yeah. So thinking about it as a parks system, not a, how do we make each individual park better, but like they kind of in the aggregate.
Yeah, both. Yeah,
both. But yeah, it's not just like
not every
one size
park
fits all. Every park gets these 5 amenities. It's
they get one slide, one swings.
And so how? Sorry, I don't mean to backtrack, but how was that when Michael Gabbard would have been in? Does that survey have his buy-in and support, or is that?
Yeah, he was supportive of it, and I think now since he's doing more focus on the recreation park as opposed to the parks. Yeah. I think it'd be good to revisit and just kind of see what he's heard too about the parks. I know with Waterworks, there was a lot of improvements made over the past 3 years since then, with continued improvements ongoing. So I know that's kind of his main focus since there's the pool there, but I do want to make sure that we have buy-in from him, whatever we end up proposing. But he was supportive of it when I did it a couple years ago.
Got it.
And I
Seems so long ago, pre-Cyrus, so
he BC.
Yeah, BC.
Mine was BS before Sam. Yeah. Back when our brains were fully functioning.
Oh, that's so nice.
We slept through the night. Oh, I remember. And I know that Gabby's also doing a lot of work to get activation into the parks. Like now the summer rec stuff has started. And he's got he has a new program coordinator. Clint?
Yeah, program coordinator Clint.
So I think there's going to be a lot more of that interaction between parks and rec.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And all I would say, just I don't want to go too deep here, is in the same way of I wouldn't want there to be a council plan for the parks and rec, and then a Gabby plan for the parks and the rec.
Yep.
It seems a little bit like when I hear Mr. here say that there might be a council master plan, but then an admin master plan. I'm like, well, wait a minute, that's not a you know what I mean? So I don't know how we get more alignment on that, but
I think ideally just saying we're interested in this, why don't we collaborate, or what kind of things do you want to see? I don't think any of our ideas would be we'll have some sort of competing master plan type of thing, which would be hilarious.
That was what kind of came across in that segment.
I think since we have a pretty good relationship with administration, it would be more of a council. We want to make sure that if we do something like this, it's not just councils proposing this and administration's oh, that's nice, dear.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just, maybe they like most of what we do and then they add more to it, build on it. That's what would be my ideal.
Yeah.
And my vision is sort of this interweaving. One of the things that Emily and I worked really hard on was getting the state funding for parks. So where do we want that money to go? And we would be a collective we.
Yeah.
But if, say, parks are our priority and we're going to get $3 million, okay, we need $3 million. Okay, we're going to work our tails off to try to make that happen. So then how is that going to unfold?
Yeah.
So it's absolutely collaborative. It's not like, okay, here's our list and here's your list.
Yeah, but
Which-
that's just kind of how it came across. So I just want to make
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. No. But it's also not Norwood's master plan. This is being led by council, right? Council is the one asking the questions. So
Yeah.
it could be that we have this master plan and we're like, okay, number one issue is parks. And then the mayor, and this is not our mayor, might say, no, I don't like parks. We're not going to do any work on the parks. I don't envision that, but that,
Yeah.
if the mayor's like, our priority are roads, and I'm not going to support any, and I can tell you that's not the case, because when we
Yeah.
approach the mayor about these
Yeah.
things, he's like, yes, let's do that.
Yeah, and
So-
I don't think there's any plans right now for the administration to start doing a master plan at all
Okay.
either, but it's just good, it's something to think about.
Yeah.
Since we have separation of powers, we can't force them to do anything. No, it's,
Can of worms.
it is
where
good
it's
to clarify this, because neither part of us is able to do stuff kind of by
Without the
fiat.
other-
Yeah,
that
Right.
three-ring circus.
yeah.
Let's see. Anything else under master plan? Because I have some more interesting data from the demographical, because everybody, no matter their residential status, has completed that portion. And hold on. Annual household income so we had 780 something that were initiated, and then we had 679 who declared a residential status. We have 463 who completed the demographical information. So, and that shows up. So the way it works, they declare their residential status, whether they live in Norwood, they work in Norwood, whatever the case is. It takes them to a series of questions based on what they selected, and then it moves them on to demographical data. So this is everything combined. For the household income, we had 2% under 15,000 and 25% over 150,000. So that's kind of
Wait, say those numbers
both
again?
ends. 2% under 15,000
2%, okay.
for household income. And 25% over 150,000.
Okay.
So
And
that's
then-
pulling both ends of the spectrum there. 22% between 100 and 150. 19% between 75 and 99.9. 19% between 50,000 and 74.9. 10% between 30,000 and 49.9. And 3% between 15 and 29.9.
So I'm trying to picture, that's not exactly a bell
I know. I'm
curve.
trying
No,
to.
that is not a bell
It's like it starts low, but then keeps going up.
It
So then
does.
that would say to me, we're not grabbing some of our more low-income folks.
Correct.
Yeah.
We
So-
are almost 50%. We're at 48% are above 100,000.
Yeah, so it'd be good to try to make sure wherever we put these, it's not just grabbing people who,
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's part of like a survey. If you have more money, you tend to have more time to do this type of stuff too.
Right.
You're not
And
going for your 2 or 3 jobs.
So, like, I'm on the site datausa.io, so I'm trusting this is reasonably accurate. It says median household income for Norwood is 64,000. So if you just use 64, what would you use that as a dividing line? Approximately what percentage of our results are
because that falls in the
Above or
middle of
below?
our 50 and
Feels
75.
like more is above, right?
So we're definitely more are above.
Yeah.
So like how many, what percentage are in the 50 to 75 range?
19%.
And then what percentage in the aggregate is everything, all the buckets below 50?
Below 50 is 10, 13, about 15%.
So then 75 and above is 66%.
It's around, yeah, over 60.
Yeah, so just to say that again, so let's just say that 50 to 75 is like your middle of your bell curve, so that's 19%. And we have 15% are below 50K, 66% are over 75K.
Yeah.
So definitely skewing
Correct.
higher income.
As far as gender, 30% male, 63% female, 1.5% non-binary, and 5% prefer not to answer. Level of education, 1% less than high school, 12% high school diploma, 16% some college, 10% associates, 34% bachelor's, 21% master's, 6% doctoral.
That sounds bell curvy.
So
Yeah,
so for the state of Ohio, so what was your bachelor's degree attainment?
34.
So statewide, that's 14. And then what is your master's degree number?
21,
Yeah, statewide, that's 6.
and doctoral is 6.
And statewide, that's like 1%.
And so this one is a little interesting. How they access the survey. Scanning a QR code was about 10%. Clicking a link in an email that they received was 8%. A Facebook post was 64%. And accessing a link from a website was less than 1%, and other was 20%.
I think we probably got our biggest responses from Norwood Strong and the city's Facebook page. The city currently doesn't have Instagram, which I'm working on. But I feel like that also, Facebook, I know that skews older. Look at that face. She says it skews old. I'm told Facebook's old.
I hate Facebook, yes.
Just objectively, it skews older.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I
not,
don't know if it
wouldn't
has
say
an
old.
income skew per se,
no,
but
it's too pervasive for that.
okay.
Yeah, it's,
Um,
I mean, the issue might be that I feel like renters are on those groups. And what, like 45 to 50% of our population is renters. Like a significant. So I think like water bills might be a good way. And
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
schools.
But even those, like,
It could go to the landlord.
That's true. I don't get my water bill.
Right.
right.
yeah.
But something. It's still a net.
yeah.
I mean, you
Not the
could find
biggest,
like
but it's
a large apartment building and a large
Put it
apartment
in their
complex.
common area, put it on the door.
Yep.
A lot of the common areas are locked, but yes, if they're unlocked. I know this from lit dropping.
I know,
for
that's what I was gonna say.
legitimate purposes, not for me trying to get into common areas before this is clipped. Put on Facebook.
It's too late. You
Too
already
late.
said it.
Are there any like I don't know, sort of like renters advocates groups or anything like that that you're aware of locally?
Not locally.
We could
That I'm aware of.
we could create a separate QR code
Oh my gosh.
There is like
for churches and mail them to all the churches in the city.
Oh,
And ask if
that
they could either
think
post it in their bulletin on their website or on their physical bulletin board.
I think I have a list of
I know that one exists because I've looked at it for other, like,
You know, what church.
outreach. Yes, for outreach purposes, yes.
I've got a list of 20 churches.
Yeah, that'd be good to email
Yeah.
them, and that'll be a mix of people who live here and don't live here.
And I have both email and mail, snail mail. Gonna put that on my to-do list? Send me another QR code.
Yep.
I'm gonna have a hard time keeping all the QR codes straight.
Yeah, that'll also help for like, especially I'm thinking non-English speaking churches, like the Hispanic church.
Mm-hmm. And the Buddhist temple. And
But then do we run into the problem that our survey is only in English?
True, but usually there's English speakers amongst, like, older people don't speak English necessarily, but their kids do, so they can help out.
oh yeah, and it's updated too.
So yeah, what's one more QR code?
Amongst friends.
Where do you want me to share these lists anywhere, or just
Are they on Google Sheets?
what is this?
It looks like it.
Yes.
You should be able
I
to
can
email us,
share.
and then we can,
Am I allowed to share?
I don't see why not, it's just a list of information.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be good to have that list of contact info.
Does everybody want a link to this?
I do, just to see if I can add anything, because I think we had made a list for the 5K a couple years ago of contact info. I can make sure that you have everything that we have and vice versa.
Sweet.
All right. Me
I just didn't want to spam everybody with,
again.
I shot that over to you.
It's better than the fake toll text I've been getting recently.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That one stopped. I got that for a couple weeks. That one ended.
I just got one yesterday. I thought it was over, but apparently I'm in New Jersey now. Who knew? I didn't.
You guys get text scams?
Yeah.
I just get people calling me and leaving me voicemails every day for my back taxes that I do not owe.
All right. So community survey, early results and follow-up, community survey distribution, new council orientation, master plan for the city. Those were all our agenda items.
Yep.
I think we've covered all of them.
Great.
That takes us to Q&A. What I'll throw out there just as a notice or a reminder for all of council, we will have 2 members absent at our next meeting. So if there are any items that require all 3 readings, we will have to schedule emergency meetings, or not emergency, special meetings, because we will not have enough members present to suspend the rules and have all 3 readings. So just throwing that heads up out there for everybody.
Should that be
Excuse me.
shared with law director, safety service director, et cetera?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good to give them a heads up,
Yep.
because
Can you do that, Joe?
I can do that.
at least for me, I will say that the rest of the week after next Tuesday is pretty clear in the evening. So if we need that, I at least can come. And hopefully at least 3 other people. We'd only need 5 for emergency clause, right?
Well,
Assuming no dissent.
Yes. But we would need minimum 5 to be even present.
correct. Yes.
Yes. I don't know, it'd be good maybe to ask them if there's something coming down the docket, especially if it's something that, like, appropriations need changed, or they're applying for another lead line replacement. Would it be possible to do like a special meeting beforehand so that we can make sure it gets passed in time? Or does it have to be at the full meeting that the first reading happens?
Well, we'd have to do,
Meaning like,
I mean, we
have a
could,
special meeting on like June 9th or something,
Something like that.
versus.
Yeah, I didn't know, like,
yeah, we would
as
just
far
have
as
to
timing.
provide
Notice.
notification.
Right.
24 hour
Yeah.
notice.
Yeah. It's just to think about, because I know sometimes there are deadlines that fall in the middle of the week or the end of the week.
Correct. And yeah, I have not seen what, I think there was one item that we did not pass at the last meeting. I think we had the first or the second reading.
We had the first reading of
That was the nuisance.
nuisance.
The nuance.
Yeah, the nuance. Yes, so we would just be doing the second reading of that anyway.
Right.
So as long as
I
there's,
think that's the only carryover.
that's the only carryover. Yeah, just trying to think ahead. Because if it's easier for people, we can also like do it some evening this week or
Yeah.
the Monday or
Before everyone.
before everyone has to go out of town.
Should all take one Saturday morning meeting, or Saturday meeting over 2 extra meetings.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, technically, if we have 6 members present at one of the special meetings,
Then we
take
can-
care
and
of everything.
everyone votes in favor of
We could just have the
passage,
one.
we could suspend the rules and have the second and third readings
Great.
of whatever item is to be passed. The key number is 6.
When does
Yes.
the councilwoman meet for Lily?
Sunday morning.
Saturday night, baby.
So Saturday morning?
If needed, I don't know. Like, again, I don't
If
know
there's an emergency.
if there's something that's
Yeah.
really, maybe there's nothing this time because we did just pass a whole bunch of stuff already.
Yes, we did.
That was very time sensitive. I will be meeting with Mr. Miracle tomorrow, so I can ask him if he foresees anything too.
All right.
Should we just send out a warning?
Yeah.
Email to everybody?
I let them know that I'm not going to be here.
No, I mean
think.
everybody in the building. Like, if you have an emergency, tell us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, tell us now
Tell us today.
today.
Yeah, get on the agenda.
Return the
Wow.
favor a little bit.
Yeah. I'd rather get it done earlier than later, basically. Like, I'd rather have one special meeting on a Friday or Saturday
Yes.
morning and make sure everything that gets passed, as long as it's like not controversial or something we have to think about more. I know it's not fun to be wondering if we will be able to have
Something
a grant application go in.
Yeah.
Do we have anything for Q&A?
I threw that out there.
What's
That's,
the nature of that bucket?
Do you have anything, any comments or questions, sir?
I like to watch how the sausage.
I think it's just
It's very sausagey.
if you've run into any like questions about, especially for you, like how things work or things that weren't clear.
Yeah. Yeah, I and just sort of in that spirit, like, how do things get on this agenda?
on what?
Where?
They have to be referred out of,
Or the-
Council can
meeting.
add one. It's kind of the same with any committee. If an item can be added into that committee during a council meeting, or the chair of that committee can place an item in there. But
so in this
but-
case, you would be the person making this agenda.
Correct. But once an item is added to the agenda or into the committee, discussion has to take place in order for that to get reported out. Otherwise, it kind of stays in committee until it is formally reported out. Kind of like we had the ad hoc committee with the school board was in our last committee of the whole, and the council committee assignments. So those were discussed in committee of the whole, and then those were reported out. So since they were reported out, there was nothing further keeping them in
They either like live here or they go travel somewhere else, but otherwise they're.
Yes, well, if they are reported out a committee that box is basically checked.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I mean about reported out. Like,
Yep.
they've escaped
Yep.
through that report.
They've been let go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
there something you want to put on the agenda,
No,
or just curious?
yeah, just curious in terms of like, the best use of this time and space versus like whatever else.
Yeah, and it's also just nice to have time to like, if I've thought of something procedural, I've asked Joe and he's been able to answer it here rather than me forgetting until the day of council and being like, oh, how do I do this?
Right.
Yeah.
And it is also the more informal structure than the council meeting. It's, I don't have to sit here and bang anyone out of order or wait
Address the
for
chair.
hands to be
Yeah.
raised to speak and all that fun stuff. But yeah, it's kind of throwing things out there for council to discuss, but also knowing that within committee of the whole, council cannot take any legislative action. That would get reported out or discussed with council as a body at a regular council meeting and then voted on at that point. All right. Anything else under Q&A? All right. Then I will go ahead and declare this committee of the whole meeting closed. And thank you all for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you.